Welcome to episode 26 of the Travel Calumet Original Podcast. I'm your host, Rick Sense. My guest for this episode is Vern Gasch, one of the owner-operators of Heritage Orchard of Chilton. Thanks for being our guest today, Vern.
Thank you.
Before we get started, Vern, I need to let listeners know what we are experiencing this morning. First, it's a perfect summer morning. The sky above is a beautiful, perfect blue. It's the color that the Sherwin-Williams folks try to capture when creating their sky blue exterior paint or Crayola, it's sky blue crayon. It's just beautiful. And it's a dry, cool of the day, 68 degrees, and we're standing in a lush apple orchard that is beautifully situated on the eastern shore of Wisconsin's largest inland lake, with a wide, sweeping panoramic view of apple trees and Lake Winnebago and looking to our west. What a beautiful venue, listeners. It's just worth checking out on its own. And that view alone is really worth the trip. But there's more here than just a great view, isn't there, Vern?
We hope so. That's what we try to do.
Vern, can you let listeners know the history of Heritage Orchard and how your family is connected to the property?
Okay. Well, first of all, good morning to you, Rick. And it is a beautiful day. It's kind of a morning that starts to remind us of fall. And, of course, that's an exciting time of the year for us. We are just in the process of getting ready to right now, and we'll be opening on August 24th. To give you a little rundown on the history, as I said, it's kind of a long story, but this was a dairy farm many years ago. And when my dad got out of World War II and came home, and he was a dairyman, and he rented this farm. He and my mom rented this farm, and soon after it was being rented, it was sold to a man who wanted to start an orchard. He was from Door County and managed a large fruit operation there and wanted to have one of his own, and said, gee, this setting is just like it is in Door County with the water to the west and so forth. He told them that they could work off their rent by planting apple trees for him, which they did over a 2-year period, and by the time they were finished planting apple trees, a lot of the land was used that would have normally been used for cropland for the dairy herd, and so my parents had to rent a different farm then, and they moved on from there. This was in 1947. It was the year I was born. There was an old house and a barn here at the time, and so this was my first home, actually. So my parents moved on from here, and the name of the people that had purchased the property was Erickson's, so it was known as. And over the years, I worked here because we did live almost next door. My grandfather worked here, and then in 1977, the Ericksons decided that they no longer wanted to be in the orchard business and offered it for sale, and my wife, Ann, and I purchased it. And as they say, the rest is history. A lot of things have changed. We, of course, you can see that the old house and the old barn are gone, and a lot of renovations have been made here. A lot of improvements in the orchard, but at any rate, since our family was so involved in many of the things that happened here, we decided that a good name for the orchard would be Heritage Orchard, because it really was part of our heritage. And so that's how it got named, and we've been here since.
So quite the family connection. How is that continuing today? What's the next step in the generational family build here?
Next step is that we're in a transition period right now. We have 2 sons, Adam and Tori. Both of them are interested in continuing the orchard. Adam is very production oriented, and Tori is our marketer and retailer, and so the 2 of them are we're in the process of transferring the property and the ownership and so forth, so hopefully they'll carry it on for a long time.
We're in the off season, so to speak, for the orchard, although really getting really close to opening day, if we're going to use a sports analogy, right?
That's
You
right.
mentioned earlier, later this month. Can you maybe give listeners an idea of what the off season's like and what needs to be done for basically, because you're open for 2 months basically during the year, right?
That's right. 2 months is, that the advertised period of time. We're trying to expand that a little bit. The last 2 years we've been open a little bit long. The time period normally is the 1st of September until the end of October. That's our season. That's when our apples ripen, and we have many other products, but we don't have fresh apples to sell before the 1st of September. We can extend that season later, and we have done that a little bit. I think as time goes on, our intention would be to possibly extend our season until Christmas. As part of our overall offering, we have a craft shop. Of course, Christmas season is a good time for those crafts. Some of our crafts are specifically geared towards Christmas. We still have apples in storage. We sell a lot of apple cider. That's something that's popular at Christmas. We have a bakery, so there's some reasons why we could extend that season. We've stopped it in the past because a good part of our overall marketing thing has been pick your own apples, and of course, once we get past the middle of October, can be questionable as to what weather conditions are like, and by that time most of our apples are already picked and in storage. So that's why we've stopped it at the end of September or October in the past, but something that we're seriously looking at carrying forward with a little extended period.
We moved inside to the main building of the orchard. You mentioned a little bit about the craft selection, and you might hear the refrigeration units just kicked in a little bit. But you mentioned there's a craft area. There's an upper level? Is that where the craft area is in the upper level?
That's correct. That's what we call our craft loft. It was an area that we couldn't really use for retailing our fruit and our other items, and it's a perfect place for crafts with a great overlook of Lake Winnebago. It just lent itself real well to being a craft area. We have approximately 30 some local crafters that bring in arts and crafts. Some are artists, some, I guess they're all artists in their own way, but they're all handmade crafts. We don't sell any commercial type crafts where we go and buy some at a show someplace. It's all local artistic crafts.
So you're gonna find one of a kind type of items here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have some very talented people that bring things in, and so we feel real fortunate to have the offering that we do.
This year's been an interesting year. I don't know if interesting is the right word for it, but with all the rain we've had. And actually, I'm sure winter played a big role too, because we had no snow and no moisture at all in the winter. How does that impact the growing season and the actual final product of the ripe apple?
That's a good question. You asked about what we do during the off season too, and just to give you a little bit of a rundown. Of course, the fall season is the exciting part of this season, because that's when our apples ripen from approximately we have 20 different varieties, and so they don't all ripen at once, but our first ones ripen usually near the 1st of September. This year it's a little earlier because we had our early spring, and they are finished with the ripening process by usually the middle of October. So you've got a month and a half basically over that time period is when those 20 different varieties do ripen. The summer was challenging. Our primary job during the summer is controlling insects and diseases and weeds. When it rains every second day, that was a difficult process. We follow what's called an integrated pest management program. We are not organic, at least not yet. We're working on an organic orchard, but our commercial orchard, which we continue to use the IPM on, requires that we do need to spray at some points in time to control insect and diseases. And it's difficult to do that when you don't have a weather system that cooperates. During the winter time, our primary job is pruning our trees. Ideally, they need to be pruned every year. We don't always get to every tree every year. As a matter of fact, we rarely get to every tree every year. This year, without the snow cover, it was easier to get into the orchard and do some pruning, and so we did get a lot finished. But winter is a quieter time for us, but there's plenty to do. So the pruning is a big thing. And then in the winter time, we also try to catch up on repairing equipment that might not have gotten done during the summer. We always take some time off at Christmas time, between Christmas and New Year's. Every January there's a conference that's held by the Wisconsin Apple Growers Association. It involves educational programs and a trade show where we can go in and update our education and our, just see what new technology is out there. And sometimes other types of programs that we might want to get involved in. So winter is as I said, it's not as hectic or as exciting as fall is, but it's nonetheless it's busy. And then as we move into spring, then it's maintaining the trees and trying to do what's necessary to raise a quality crop.
20 different varieties. Do you have any idea how many apples that you produce a year?
Well,
in the ballpark?
That varies from year to year.
Okay.
But a general amount would be 7,000 bushels.
Okay.
And like I said, some years are different than others depending upon the weather conditions. As other farmers, the weather dictates everything. We always know what we need to do, but working it into the weather system isn't always the way it works out.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you could give listeners an idea if they were to come to visit in September. What could they expect? First of all, they're going to get this beautiful drive if they're taking Highway 55 down, right? I mean, just beautiful. The scenic view of Lake Winnebago is just something to behold. And by the way, folks, you get ample views right of the lake here, right at the apple orchard, and it's a calm, peaceful place to view it. But so they're driving down, they get out, they park the car. What kind of things are they going to experience here?
Sure. Well, first of all, what you mentioned, we have a panoramic view of Lake Winnebago. We're kind of nestled between the Niagara Escarpment and Lake Winnebago. So we've got on one backdrop we have the ledge, and on the other side is the orchard. So we are located on Lakeshore Drive, which is one road closer to the lake than Highway 55 and 151. As they say, we're cleverly hidden, but easy to get to. We got good road systems and so forth. I usually tell people we're exactly 5 miles south of Stockbridge. So those people that are coming from the Fox River Valley, that's a good indicator for them. As you drive in, you'll see a large building in front of you that is our main building, and it houses our retail store or market, surrounded then by the orchard on all sides, really. In that building is where you'll find our retail displays. We have a choice that people can make. If they want to pick their own, they can enter the orchard and pick their own apples. Otherwise, they can in our main building, barn or apple shed or apple house or whatever you want to call it. It looks like a barn. They can choose the apple varieties that we already have picked ourselves. What we have for sale in our inside has been washed and graded for size and quality and packaged, and we will have all the varieties that are ripe at that point in time to choose from. We have many other products that we have. We have a large display of jams and jellies and honey and syrup, and we sell some nuts and just a lot of fall items. In September, if it were the middle of September, we would probably just be starting with a few pumpkins. We sell pumpkins and squash and gourds.
Are those grown right here too?
Those are grown usually. We had some difficulty with our growing this year because of the heavy rains, but yes, we grow as much of that as we possibly can. Inside the building, we also it also houses our bakery. We have our most popular item is apple cider donuts, and we also sell pies and turnovers, and we sell something called, some people call them apple sticks, but it's like a rolled up shell with a filling inside that's really been a popular seller, and we'll be expanding that bakery. That's one of the things that Tori is interested in doing is creating some new products for the bakery. We sell a lot of apple cider. We do we have our own press. We press fresh every week, so we sell that in our building. And then our craft loft is open during the entire season that we're here. So if you were to drive in, you would walk in, and hopefully you would be greeted by a friendly employee or myself or somebody, and give you direction as to whatever you would like to do. We have some fantastic employees. They're all interested in serving our customers with good customer service, and they've just been had a huge impact on our business because they've been just very loyal people, and many of them have been here quite a few years with us.
How many acres do you have under production right now?
Well, right now we have 17 acres of trees that are producing. Okay, sometimes they have. We don't have any. We didn't have any plantings from this year that got started this year, but 15 of that is in our conventional orchard, and then we have about an acre and a half of new trees that are on a separate location that are we're attempting to do as an organic orchard.
Okay.
And of course the organic means that we would be using a different program for controlling disease and insects. We can't use the same pesticides or anything that we would use on our IPM orchard on the organic, because they have to be approved through the organic organizations in order to be certified organic. So we're in the process of doing that, and it's been an interesting experience. We've got a ways to go on that yet before. We will have just a few apples this fall that we can offer as organic, but that will be something that we hope to expand in the future.
What variety of apple do you have in that operation experiment, I guess, for lack of a better name for it?
When we planted that orchard, we particularly wanted, there are apples that are called disease-free apples,
Okay.
and those are have been developed over the years. One of the apples that we do have planted there is Honeycrisp, which is really not a disease-free apple, but it is very resistant to apple scab, which is a fungal disease that is difficult to manage. So they have some resistance to that. There's a new variety called Triumph. We have some of those planted. We have something called Crimson Crisp, which is a disease-free tree. We have another one that is brand new. It is called Ruby Rush. It's a real new, nice-looking variety. Those are all disease-free trees, and so by the fact that they're as prone to apple scab, which, as I said, is our primary fungal problem to deal with, we're hoping to be able to eliminate, that particular problem. We still have to deal with the insects.
Do you offer tours of the facility?
Yes, we do. We have quite a number of schools that bring their students out here. We have a lady that directs our tours. We've had other bus tours as well, adults. The adult tours have been more geared to coming and shopping rather than than to have an educational tour. The school tours are all an educational process. They have an orientation where they learn about how the apple starts with the pollination of the flowers and so forth, and then they go into the orchard. They'll be allowed to pick some apples. Then they come into our facility and they see our grading process and the the retailing process and so forth, and then they get to take some apples back to their classrooms. Most of them make applesauce or something, and then they also have an option where they can have a hayride and or get a pumpkin if they want.
Is the hayride available to people that are here to pick on a normal business day?
Not exactly.
Okay.
We're not really offering hay rides to adults, except on weekends we do have wagons that take people into the orchard to the areas where they're picking. So they're not. It's a free ride. They're not paying for a hay ride as such, but. We have had some groups that wanted to specifically come and do a hayride, and we can do that. Mm-hmm. But we're not offering hayrides on a daily basis, so to speak. But like I said, on weekends they can hop aboard, and we'll take them into the orchard and where they can pick and. A lot of people just like to walk out there because mm-hmm. it's a great time to be outdoors in the fall when it's when the weather permits. When it's raining, maybe not so much, but it's a nice place to be in the fall.
I can imagine that one of the joys of owning this orchard and doing what you do is the off-season time when you're able to walk through the trees and you're able to see that view. What kind of things do you enjoy? What are some of the residual benefits of ownership that you could share with listeners?
Well, I grew up on a dairy farm, so I have the farm background, and I've always had a passion for agriculture of some kind. I had, in the process over the years of growing this, I also had a regular job, and so for much of my career here, and I've always worked with other farmers in the. I've been in sales, I've been in lending, and some other things, but I guess just the fact that I can be out here in the fresh air, being able to walk on my own property and be among the trees, watching the fruit develop, it's very satisfying to be able to grow a good crop, and there are challenges to make that happen. It doesn't just happen. There's a lot of work involved and so forth. But I guess the gratification comes during the fall, and to be able to harvest some nice apples, something with good quality, and I feel good about the fact that we can grow a crop of we can provide a product that's healthy and people can enjoy, and I guess that's the satisfaction that I get from it mostly.
Okay.
So
if people want to learn more about the orchard and how to get here, and where would you direct them?
Well, as I said, we're cleverly hidden, and
Okay.
really we're not that hard to find. We're located right in the middle of Lake Winnebago between Appleton and Fond du Lac. We are approximately 20 miles from Fond du Lac and about 30 miles from the Fox River Valley. The easiest way to find us is to come out on Highway 55 from the north and come to Stockbridge, and then go towards the lake till you come to Lakeshore Drive and just stay on there for 5 miles, and we're right on Lakeshore Drive. Coming from the south, Fond du Lac, you pass through several little towns. There's Pipe and Calumetville and Brothertown, and when you get to Brothertown, if you again come towards the lake until you get to Lakeshore Drive and just head a mile north, and we're on Lakeshore Drive. So it's coming from the east. Of course, you have to come on well, you might come on Highway 151. You might come on County H, whichever. But keep in mind, you have to come one road closer to the lake than the highway is.
Okay.
And I don't know if that explains it very well.
Yeah, and if they want to find out more about the orchard online, where would they go for that?
Well, we have a website.
Yeah.
We're at Heritage Orchard WI.com. Tells a little bit about the orchard. We have Tori and my wife both do quite a bit of things on Facebook, and Tori especially will be doing things on Facebook as the season progresses and try to keep people informed on a pretty regular basis as to what's going on. And of course, if people just want to give us a call, that's fine too. I spend a lot of my time on weekends just talking to people because they have questions, and people are generally curious about what we do and how we do it, and would like to learn more about about the operation. We have some historical things here too. I don't know if you noticed as you came in, there's a little Native American cemetery located right on adjacent to the property. It has some history there. At one point in time, this township was actually an Indian reservation, and there's a lot of history involved with that.
Thank you for taking the time out of your day, Vern, to talk to us and the listeners about the wonderful things that are happening out here. Again, you said you're opening August 21st.
August 24th will be our
24th.
24th will
Okay.
be our opening day this year. As I said in the past, it usually has been around the 1st of September, but the crop is ripening just a little early this year, and so that'll be our opening day, and then we'll go from there. And then we're open every day from 9 until 5, every day of the week, and hopefully we'll have good weather, and I look forward to seeing a lot of people.
All right.
And thank you for the opportunity.
Alrighty, thank you much, listeners. You've been listening to the Travel Calumet Original Podcast. This has been episode number 26, and with Vern Gasch from Heritage Orchard. And we invite you back to our next episode. Thank you again for listening. Take care.